Chapter 184. Why is there no movement? The pressure of the approaching storm was really unbearable. One of the young warriors was so nervous that he tried to cheer himself up. Don't talk. The long blade martial school elder next to him glared at him. Without making a sound, the greenish-red vines drilled out of the ground, instantly tearing apart the elder's protective true energy and piercing into his body. The surface of the arm-thick vines would sway from time to time, as if large masses of flesh and blood were being sent into the elder's body. Ah! Seeing himself turn into a bag of bones, the elder could no longer stay calm. He opened his mouth and let out a blood-curdling scream. In the next second, the battle formation was completely messed up. There's a vine coming out of the ground. Damn it! It's under my body. Help! Help me! Screams and screams spread out one after another in this area. Despair flooded everyone's mind like a flood. Many of them felt that their hands and feet were numb, and they couldn't even breathe. The Long Blade Martial School's leader was called Li Yuan. He clenched his fists, took a deep breath, and shouted coldly, "Split into groups of 10, spread out, and form a small battle formation. If you see a vine, chop it down as hard as you can. If you kill one, you'll have a higher chance of survival." Within this short period of time, more than 30 people had died, and 1/3 of them were killed by their own people. If this situation continued, everyone would collapse. In front of despair and fear, Li Yuan's words were not very effective. Except for a small number of people who followed his orders, most of the people had already fallen into a state of madness. Whenever they saw something approaching them, they would swing their blades at it with bloodshot eyes. The weakness of human beings was clearly shown at this moment. I can't take it anymore. I want to leave. I want to leave this damn place. If this goes on, we'll all die. As more and more people died, some of the younger warriors finally collapsed. They desperately separated themselves from the crowd and ran as far as they could. If there was one, there would be a second. It was like a virus that spread like wildfire, and no one could stop it. Ah! Ah! These people didn't even manage to run far before they were sucked dry by the vines. Their protective Jinqi was as fragile as a piece of tofu, easily broken by a single poke. Leader, if this goes on, we'll all die. We'd better run. It's better to let as many as we can escape than to be wiped out. All of the elders of the Long Blade Martial School were clasping Yuan realm martial artists, and their protective Jinqi was exceptionally strong. However, the attacks of the vines were way too frequent and weird, and they always targeted the areas where the protective Jinqi was the weakest. By now, 2 to 3 elders had already died, and the other elders couldn't help but yell out. Li Yuan was a peak-level late-clasping Yuan realm martial artist. With the help of his protective Jinqi, he had managed to cut a lot of vines. However, at that moment, even though he wanted to, he did not have the strength to do so. There were more and more vines coming at him. Every time he cut one, more would attack him. His face was gloomy and pale. His voice contained true energy transmitted outwards. Everyone, retreat. Don't panic. Just as he finished speaking, an elder said in a trembling voice, "Sect Master, we can't escape. There are vines everywhere outside. We've been surrounded. Damn it. Is the Long Blade Martial School going to perish here today?" Li Yuan and the other elders couldn't help but think pessimistically. They're attacking. Oh my god. Countless greenish-red vines moved like snakes, covering the sky and covering the earth. Everywhere they passed, cultivators fell to the ground, their bodies sucked dry until only skin and bones remained. Swoosh, 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 for the first time in his life, Li Yuan felt so powerless. Right now, he only had one thought in his mind, which was to kill as many vines as possible. With him as the center, sharp blade chi spread out, shredding the greenish-red vines one after another. Yichen didn't care about the situation of the Long Blade Martial School anymore, because he had also been discovered by tens of vines. These vines didn't have eyes or noses, only a mouth. However, they seemed to have very sharp senses, easily discovering the weak spots of Yi Chen's protective zhenqi. Ji Hao unsheathed his dragon spring sword and cut 3 vines in half, sending a greenish-red juice splashing everywhere. Fortunately, I've cultivated the great mystery art to the 9th level, and the quality and quantity of my zhenqi has already surpassed the zhenqi cultivated with a low-rank Earth Realm martial art. Besides, I'm wearing a low-rank light armor, which can increase my defensive power by more than 10%. With these 2 factors added together, my defensive power is almost equal to that of a peak-level mid-clasping Yuan Realm martial artist. While moving swiftly, Yi Chen cut the vines one after another, feeling a bit lucky. Soon, tens of vines were cut off one after another, but none of them could hurt Yi Chen. However, Yi Chen's eyebrows were knitted even more tightly. Probably because the vines had sensed that Yi Chen was a huge threat, countless vines had gathered over from all directions, gradually surrounding Yi Chen, leaving no space for him to escape. Yi Chen's expression didn't change. As long as he was protected by the sword intent, all kinds of negative emotions wouldn't be able to affect him, only making him calmer. Swoosh! 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 When launching sneak attacks, the vines wouldn't make even the slightest sound. However, when launching a frontal attack, the vines' attacking speed had been raised to a whole new level, and they darted towards Yi Chen as fast as lightning. Swirling clouds. The dragon spring sword released an arc-shaped stream of sword chi, which rose straight up, twisting the airflow and forming a light blue tornado, shrouding Yi Chen. Puff, puff, puff. All the vines that were attacking Yi Chen were shredded into pieces by the tornado, and from time to time, a thick stream of sword chi darted out and cut off large amounts of vines. Pop! The tornado was suddenly penetrated, and a dark red vine darted towards Yi Chen. This tornado is mixed with zhenqi, and can even cut steel into pieces when rotating at a high speed. However, this dark red vine was able to penetrate through it, which means it's much harder than ordinary cyan and red vines. This seems to be bad. As this thought flashed across his mind, Yi Chen swung his sword towards the dark red vine. With the help of his sword intent, the dark red vine wasn't indestructible, and was easily cut into pieces. However, in the next moment, Yi Chen discovered that new ends of the dark red vine were growing out from the broken ends of the vine, and the sharp fangs were densely covered in a spiral shape. I can't stay here for long. After cutting off the dark red vine once again, Yi Chen activated his great mystery zhenqi with all of his power and infused it into the tornado, moving deeper into the jungle. The dark red vine followed closely behind, while the other cyan and red vines crazily blocked the tornado, trying to stop Yi Chen from moving forward. Yi Chen sneered, and controlled the tornado to attack. Under the attack of the tornado, the vines were torn apart one after another, and the ground was covered with layers and layers of cyan and red vines. Yi Chen walked deeper and deeper into the jungle, and it seemed like there was no end to it. With the help of the pellet that could instantly replenish his zhenqi, Yi Chen was not in a hurry. He waited until the tornado weakened, and then performed the swirling wind and broken clouds again, moving forward. Damn it! What the hell is this? Qin Hao was completely surrounded by the greenish-red vines. Although his body-protecting zhenqi could temporarily save his life, his zhenqi was being consumed at an extremely fast speed. In just half an hour, he had already swallowed 3 zhenqi recovery pills. Shoo! A dark red vine that was as thick as a calf shot towards him. Crack! The vine was shattered by the vacuum giant palm, but soon, it recovered completely. No, I have to get out of here. This jungle is way too dangerous. The consumption of zhenqi is not proportional to the recovery speed. I will die here sooner or later. Qin Hao was extremely annoyed. He had just escaped from the Wind Wolf, and now he was surrounded by cyan and red vines. Ever since he had entered the 100,000 mountain range, nothing had gone smoothly. Fortunately, he was not too far away from the jungle, so he should be able to get out of here. The vacuum giant palm burst out, and Qin Hao opened up a bloody path, rushing back the way he had come. Right at that moment, a big tree not far away from him was suddenly smashed in the middle, and a huge figure appeared in front of him. If it was not the Wind Wolf, what else could it be? A man and a beast were facing each other, but they did not notice that there was a purple gas spreading down from the sky. This gas was like a living creature, twisting and wriggling, and its color was extremely bright. Shoo! A huge hole appeared on Qin Hao's protective Zhenqi, and the flesh and blood on that part were quickly corroded into ashes. The Wind Wolf in front of him was not any better. The purple gas was obviously the bone-corroding miasma above the jungle. When the big tree was smashed, the extremely heavy bone-corroding miasma sank down and spread out. I don't want to die like this. Qin Hao opened his mouth and roared out. Soon, his body was corroded into ashes. The Wind Wolf was extremely powerful, and it was surprisingly not killed by the bone-corroding miasma. Howling, it rushed back the way it came from. However, soon, its body became shorter, and was corroded into ashes bit by bit. There was not even a trace of it left. It was even more horrifying than the vines in the jungle. The purple gas did not sink too much, and after it had spread to a certain area, it stopped expanding. Furthermore, the huge trees nearby were slowly absorbing the purple gas, and then releasing it out from the top of the trees, merging into the air above the jungle. A special balance had been formed between the two. In the middle of the jungle, Yichen raised his head and saw a mountain that was over 1,000 meters high. The front part of the mountain was protruding like a nose, and the two sides of the mountain were weirdly extending upwards, looking like the horns of a goat. Goat Head Mountain. It is indeed here. The vines were still chasing after Yichen. No one knew how long they were, or how many there were. Yichen kept killing the vines while rushing towards the nose of the mountain. When he got closer, Yichen found out that it was a huge cave. It was opened like a goat's mouth, and it was pitch black inside. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Let's go in first. Dispersing the tornado, Yichen's body flashed and disappeared into the mouth of the goat. The vines behind him followed him in like a tide. With his powerful soul power, Yichen could see the darkness as nothing. He smoothly went into the deep part of the cave, avoiding all the obstacles around him. There are stairs here. It seems like it was indeed made by someone. On the left side, Yichen found a secret staircase, which was curved and extended upwards. At first glance, it seemed to be a bit narrow and crowded. Yichen put a Zhenqi replenishing pellet into his mouth, and pushed up his Zhenqi layer with all of his strength, jumping up. Right then, the vines behind him seemed to be hesitating. They wanted to chase after Yichen, but they were also hesitating. Shoo! 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 After a long while, countless vines gradually retracted, and stopped chasing after Yichen. Chapter 185. The second floor was no longer pitch black. Countless luminous stones on the walls were emitting a soft light, brightening up the whole space. Once inside, even with Yichen's state of mind, he could not help but take a deep breath. So much wealth. That's right, it was indeed a lot of wealth, because the second floor did not have only one thing, but all of them were very valuable. Everywhere he looked, there were boxes of gold casually piled up, each box could contain 100,000 gold, and there were hundreds of boxes here, which added up to tens of millions of gold, which was comparable to the wealth of a mid-level family. Next to the boxes filled with gold were boxes of jewelry, including rubies, emeralds, top-quality agates, crystal necklaces, black pearls, emeralds, and jade, each of which was worth thousands of gold. The total value seemed to be no less than the hundreds of boxes of gold. Although gold and jewelry were easy to obtain for warriors, once it reached a certain amount, it would still be shocking. Most of the warriors would not be able to earn that much gold in their entire lives. Plus, the difference was that they earned it bit by bit and did not feel like it was a big deal. However, Yichen had just obtained such a huge amount of wealth all of a sudden. Let's put it away first. Yu Chen waved his hand, and the boxes of gold and jewelry flew up into the air, falling into the storage ring. Yeah. The low-rank storage ring is full. These boxes were too big, there were 500 of them in total, and the low-rank storage ring was only 1/10 full. Fortunately, Yu Chen still had a few low-rank storage rings and one mid-rank storage ring. After taking all the gold and jewelry, Yu Chen's eyes fell on the ground next to him. There were boxes of low-rank soul stones and a lot of mid-rank soul stones. A shocking amount of yuan qi from the soul stones gathered in the air, forming images of dragons, tigers, phoenixes, and tortoises. 100 boxes of low-rank soul stones, 5 boxes of mid-rank soul stones, each box contains 10,000. Yu Chen's breathing sped up. The gold and jewelry had only slightly surprised him, but the amount of soul stones had shocked him. He was sure that the Sky Cloud Martial School's 10 years of savings would not even have 1,000,000 low-rank soul stones, not to mention 50,000 mid-rank soul stones. Keep. Without saying a word, Yu Chen put them all into his storage ring. With over 600 chests gone, the space on the second floor suddenly became much wider. Looking around, all the other treasures could be seen. There were 3 gourds of pills. The gourd was filled with qi replenishing pills. The gourd contained essence replenishing pills. The gourd was filled with spirit replenishing pills. The 3 kinds of dawn were auxiliary dawn that could enhance the human body's essence, qi, and spirit. They didn't seem to be of much use, but they could double the speed of a martial artist's cultivation. It should be known that the so-called innate talent was actually the exuberance of essence, qi, and spirit. Therefore, those with innate talent would be able to achieve twice the result with half the effort when cultivating Jin Qi. For example, Yu Chen's spirit, which was his soul force, was very strong. His comprehension was far beyond ordinary people, and his cultivation speed of martial arts was inconceivably fast. If his essence and qi could keep up, then his cultivation speed of Jin Qi would reach the level of innate talent. Of course, during this period, he couldn't stop taking the supplement Qi Dan and supplement Essence Dan. There are 300 dawn in one gourd. If I take one every 3 days, I can use it for almost 900 days. In Yu Chen's eyes, these 3 gourds of pills were priceless treasures. In fact, they were indeed priceless treasures. If he took them out for auction, even astral-reaching realm martial artists would be tempted, or even go crazy. It should be known that the methods of making pills were usually in the hands of the big martial institutions, and the top-level pills were in the hands of the super martial institutions. An innocent man's wealth will get him into trouble. These 3 gourds of pills are enough to make an astral-reaching realm martial artist kill me. Putting the gourd into his storage ring, Yu Chen thought to himself. He walked to the corner, where there was a bookshelf. On the bookshelf were secret manuals. On the top floor were top-rank mortal realm secret manuals, 36 in total. Below that were low-rank earth realm secret manuals, 9 in total. Below that were 3 mid-rank earth realm secret manuals. And at the bottom was a high-rank earth realm secret manual. Without reading it, Yu Chen put it away. He planned to read it when he had the time. Even if he read it now, he wouldn't have the time to cultivate. Letting out a heavy breath, Yu Chen looked around. The second floor had been cleaned out by him, and nothing was left. Let's go to the 3rd floor. His body flashed, Yu Chen flew towards the stairs. Unexpectedly, the 3rd floor was completely empty. There was only a door of light standing in the center, emitting a fine light. Standing in front of the light door, Yu Chen was a little surprised. He didn't know where this light door would transport him to. The unknown always made people hesitate, and Yu Chen was no exception. It took me a lot of effort to find this place. If I don't go in, I will regret it. Making up his mind, Yu Chen stepped into the light door. The space rippled like water, and the next second, Yu Chen disappeared into the light door. Having experienced teleportation once, Yu Chen was much calmer this time, and his mind was calm. After a moment, or maybe a day or two, Yi Chen's body relaxed, and he found himself in a magnificent stone room. The stone room didn't have a door, and was surrounded by walls. On the ceiling was a shining crystal lamp, and below the crystal lamp was a stone table. On the stone table, a forearm-length huge key was floating. The key was white, as if it was made from a white crystal, and looked very simple and unadorned. So strange, there's such a big key here. Yi Chen reached out his hand, trying to grab the key, but found that there was an invisible force around the key, and it seemed to be impregnable. Break! Activating all of his Jin Qi, Yi Chen clenched his palm into a fist and punched the air. Dong! The invisible force didn't disperse, and instead, the huge counterforce made Yi Chen's feet leave the ground, and he was sent flying backwards, nearly crashing into the wall of the stone room. With a cold look, Yi Chen pulled out the dragon spring sword, and released 4 streams of sword qi in a row. The sword qi shot out, and thunder roared. However, in the next moment, the sword qi was also bounced back with an even stronger force. Waving his sword and shattering the reflected sword qi, Yi Chen let out a bitter smile. Although he knew that the white key could be very useful, he couldn't get it with his current power. Temporarily giving up on the key, Yi Chen looked around the entire stone room. There was also a stone table in the corner, on which a plain jade slip was placed. Yi Chen waved his hand, and this time, there was no strange invisible force, and the jade slip was easily sucked into his hand. However, after looking through the jade slip for a while, Yi Chen didn't find any special function. After thinking for a while, he injected his Jin Qi into it. All of a sudden, an image appeared in Ji Hao's mind. On the ground, there was a 100-meter-tall beast with a pair of horns on its head, roaring. It opened its mouth and blew a huge mountain away. Then, it stamped its foot on the ground, and the ground split open. Lava spurted out from the cracks, dyeing the sky red. This beast was so powerful that it had never been seen or heard of before. Perhaps, only life and death realm warriors could be this powerful. Just when the beast pulled out a thousands of zhang tall mountain, a stone pillar-like finger appeared in the air. The finger moved like a shooting star, and pointed at the beast's forehead. Bang! The beast's body exploded, and disappeared. While Yi Chen was still in shock, that finger was pointing at his forehead. There was no way for him to escape, and there was no way for him to retreat. All of a sudden, Yi Chen felt like his head was about to explode. Countless messy information flooded his brain, and soon, all of these messy information combined into a text and a martial exercise map. It turned out that this finger art was called the void-shattering finger art. However, what was taught to Yi Chen was not the complete void-shattering finger art, but the third movement. According to Yi Chen's understanding, only this one movement was already extremely powerful. That beast had the power of a life and death realm warrior, but it still couldn't handle the power of this finger art. Of course, he also knew that without enough power, even if he learned this finger art to its fullest, he still wouldn't be able to kill an astral-reaching realm warrior, not to mention that horrifying beast. For a warrior, no matter how powerful a martial skill was, he still needed the power to activate it. Otherwise, it would just be an empty shell, since cultivation was the most important thing. Besides the training method for the third movement of the void-shattering finger art, the information also told him that if he wanted to break through the invisible force outside of the white key, he would need to learn a little bit of the void-shattering finger art. Just a little bit would be enough, and he didn't need much. The time limit was 3 days. After 3 days, he would be teleported back, and he would never get the white key again. 3 days. Let me try. Yi Chen sat on the ground with his legs crossed, and started to study the mysterious third movement of the void-shattering finger art. 1 day later. Yi Chen pointed out his finger, and the air twisted instantly, making a popping sound. Shaking his head, Yi Chen closed his eyes and continued to study. On the second day, Yi Chen opened his eyes and slowly pointed out his finger. Pooh! The invisible force around the white key released a light ripple, but soon, it disappeared completely, and everything went back to normal. Still not working. Only one more day left. Yichen forced a smile at first, then performed his sword intent to cut off all the distracting thoughts. He sank his mind into the study of the void-shattering finger art. From time to time, he would recall the scene of that huge finger shattering the beast. Time passed by bit by bit. Yichen's eyebrows would stretch and frown from time to time. Within that short period of time, it was hard to tell how many times they had changed. On the afternoon of the third day, a wave of horrifying qi suddenly spread out from Yichen's body. He suddenly opened both of his eyes. His pupils were chaotic, and no one could tell how deep they were. Break! Using all of his power, Yichen pointed out his finger at the invisible force. Boom! The invisible force was finally shattered. No, more accurately, it was broken. The power of the void-shattering finger art was still not as powerful as the sword qi. However, the invisible force was closely related to the void-shattering finger art, which was why it was able to break the invisible force. Studying the void-shattering finger art was extremely exhausting. Yichen wiped the sweat off his forehead, then took out a qi replenishing pill, a spirit replenishing pill, and a spirit replenishing pill, and put them into his mouth. After resting for a while, Yichen walked to the white key. The key was the size of a forearm, with an ancient character "fork" written on the front. Other than that, there was nothing special about it, and it did not cause any changes. The moment Yichen picked up the white key, a light door appeared in the stone room. The light door was faintly visible, and seemed like it could disappear at any second. Not daring to stay any longer, Yichen put the white key back into his pocket, then flashed into the light door. When he reappeared, Yichen had returned to the second layer of the goat head mountain. Along with a buzzing sound, the light door in the middle of the second layer disappeared completely. It would be impossible for him to enter the stone room again in the future. No one knew where the stone room was, or if there were any other places in the stone room. When he was about to walk down to the next layer, Yichen slightly frowned. His soul power had sensed that there were two people in the next layer. These two people were none other than Murong Qingcheng and Qi Xiaofeng. Why are they here? For a moment, Yichen was confused. Chapter 186. In the pitch-black first floor. Murong Qingcheng and Qi Xiaofeng were surrounded by countless cyan red vines, and couldn't move even an inch. The ground around them was covered in broken pieces of vines. I've taken hundreds of Zhenqi replenishing pills in the past 3 days. Now my Zhenqi has become extremely turbid, and I only have less than 30% of my power left. Qi Xiaofeng smiled bitterly. Medicinal pills were indeed good, but they couldn't be taken too often, especially Zhenqi replenishing pills. Taking 10 pills a day was already the limit. If one took more than 10 pills, his Zhenqi would become turbid and unstable, and his fighting power would be greatly reduced. In the future, he would have to temper his Zhenqi more often, otherwise, there might be some side effects. This was why most of the martial artists wouldn't take medicinal pills to replenish their Zhenqi unless they were in a critical situation. Murong Qingcheng frowned. She had been practicing the Great Sky Devil art, which was a top-rank Earth Realm martial art, and her Zhenqi was twice as much as Qi Xiaofeng's. However, during the past 3 days, she had taken almost 40 Zhenqi replenishing pills, and now she only had 60 to 70% of her power left. If not for the Great Sky Devil art and the Sky Devil power field, she would have been sucked dry by those vines long ago. Break! The Sky Devil power field was activated, and a large number of cyan red vines were twisted and shattered, clearing up an empty space, but soon, more vines filled up the space. Great Sky Devil palm print. For 3 days in a row, Murong Qingcheng hadn't slept a wink, and had been fighting non-stop. No matter how strong her mental state was, she was starting to get annoyed. She launched the Great Sky Devil martial art, the Great Sky Devil palm print. As soon as she launched her palm print, all the vines within hundreds of meters in front of her were lifted into the air, and couldn't move anymore. Then, with a loud bang, they all disappeared. Go! Let's go! The air twisted, and Murong Qingcheng was the first one to shoot towards the stairs leading to the second floor. What a powerful palm print! Qi Xiaofeng didn't dare to hesitate, and followed closely behind Murong Qingcheng. Ka-xie, 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 the ground in front of the stairs cracked, and suddenly, hundreds of dark red vines broke out from the ground, blocking their way. These dark red vines were as thick as calves, and lined up like a dark red wall, giving off a great pressure. I'm afraid I'm going to die here. The previous Sky Devil's great palm print had drained most of Murong Qingcheng's true qi, and the pill she had swallowed earlier was too slow in recovering her true qi. It was impossible to replenish her true qi in an instant. Wanting to break through the blockade of hundreds of dark red vines was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. The dark red vine's speed was far faster than the cyan and red vines, and it was about to hit the two's protective Jin Qi in an instant. With their current strength, they would definitely die. Chi 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 chi. Suddenly, a tornado swept past, blasting the dark red vines to the side, then wrapped around the two of them and rushed out. It's you. Murong Qingcheng didn't break free from Yi Chen's grasp and let him hug her. She looked a little surprised. Yi Chen looked at the green and red vines that were torn apart by the tornado, and said lightly, "How did you get here?" He suspected that the two of them had followed him. Qi Xiaofeng explained, "Murong and I were looking for a magic herb, but we were forced into this jungle by the lunar wind wolf." I see. Yi Chen was still a little suspicious, but he kept a calm expression on his face. "Are you suspecting us?" asked Murong Qingcheng. "That's not important, what's important is to get out of here." If the two of them were in their best condition, Yi Chen wouldn't have saved them. After all, both of them were more powerful than him, and their movement skills were also better than his. If they joined hands, they could kill him 10 times over. "No matter what, I'll remember this favor." Murong Qingcheng didn't say another word. Swoosh! 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 The dark red vines had caught up with them. With the intensity of their attacks, they were more than powerful enough to penetrate the tornado and tear apart the protective Jin Qi of the three of them. "Put your arms around my waist," said Yi Chen. Murong Qingcheng hesitated for a second, but when she saw the dark red vines chasing after them, she did as she was told and put her arms around Yi Chen's waist. Seeing this, Qi Xiaofeng's facial expression slightly froze. With his right hand free, Yi Chen pulled out the dragon's spring sword, and without even turning his head around, he launched another large-scale attack of the shocking cloud sword art, lightning flashing and thunder rumbling. Along with a series of thunderous booms, tens of sword lights darted out. Along with a series of puffing sounds, the dark red vines that were chasing after them were all cut into pieces, but soon, they grew out again and continued chasing after the tornado, which was still far away. In the jungle, this was the 5th time that Yi Chen had launched the swirling winds and clouds, and had consumed a lot of his Jin Qi. Without any intention to avoid arousing suspicion, Yi Chen put a pill into his mouth, which could instantly replenish his Jin Qi. Murong Qingcheng and Qi Xiaofeng didn't care too much about it. In their eyes, the pill Yi Chen had just swallowed was just an ordinary pill, and if he used too much of it, his Jin Qi would still be weak. However, they were still a bit confused as to why Yi Chen's power was still at its peak. Could it be that he hadn't been attacked by the vines before, and thus had only taken a few pills? That was the only possible explanation. And it was precisely because of this that Yi Chen took the pellet without any hesitation. Rumble! The tornado rolled the three of them up and flew at an incredible speed. Under Yi Chen's control, the tornado was also incredibly agile, easily avoiding all kinds of obstacles. "Brother Yi, this sword art of yours is really amazing, it can even wrap people up in it." Qi Xiaofeng couldn't help but praise. Yi Chen smiled, but didn't explain that he had adapted the swirling winds and clouds. The jungle was the base of the man-eating vines, and many dark red vines and cyan red vines had surrounded them. Star-shattering cut. Sky Devil Force Field. Although Murong Qingcheng and Qi Shaofeng weren't as powerful as Yi Chen, they still had some of their powers left. They both launched their special skills and started killing those vines. Yi Chen was quite happy, but the remaining power of the two still surprised him a bit, especially Murong Qingcheng, who was still more powerful than Lin Yu. Fortunately, Yi Chen clearly understood the consequences of swallowing too many pills. Without a couple of months of hard work, he wouldn't be able to recover to his peak state. Soon, the three of them were not far away from the edge of the jungle. Suddenly, Yi Chen frowned. "What's wrong?" asked Murong Qingcheng. "A powerful living being is chasing us from under the ground. It's moving at an amazing speed." Soul power couldn't penetrate too deep into the ground, therefore, Yi Chen didn't know what that powerful living being was, but he didn't doubt its power. "What should we do now?" Just when they were about to leave this dangerous place, another wave of danger came. Both Murong Qingcheng and Qi Shaofeng were instantly thrown into confusion. Yi Chen took a deep breath and said, "I have a way to get out, but it'll cost me a lot." "What kind of cost?" "I'll compensate you," Qi Shaofeng said without hesitation. "A Yuan light ball." "Yuan light ball?" Qi Shaofeng was surprised. He had heard about this kind of extremely rare life-saving treasure. It was said that it could block any attack launched by any martial artist under the astral reaching realm. To clasping Yuan realm martial artists, a Yuan light ball was even more precious than a mid-rank great weapon, or even a high-rank great weapon. After all, the latter couldn't guarantee their lives, but the Yuan light ball could. "I'll compensate you with 100,000 low-rank and 3,000 mid-rank stones." Murong Qingcheng also said, "I'll compensate you with 200,000 low-rank and 3,000 mid-rank stones." Originally, both of them didn't have so many spirit stones, but they had earned quite a lot from the ancient inherited land that only happened once every 10 years. Just like Yi Chen, he had gained so many treasures and exchanged them for the institution. Seeing Yi Chen's indifference, Qi Shaofeng said, "Brother Yi, do you think it's not enough?" All these soul stones were equivalent to the savings of 10 or even dozens of inner elders. Normal clasping Yuan realm warriors would not even dare to think about it. Not everyone could be like them, who could enter the ancient inheritance place and gain so many treasures from it. Yi Chen said, "Yuan light ball is a life-saving treasure for me. If I use it this time, I won't have it next time. Nothing is more important than my life." Qi Shaofeng was speechless. What Murong Qingcheng said made sense. If he were in Murong Qingcheng's shoes, he wouldn't be satisfied either. Murong Qingcheng said, "What about a mid-rank storage ring?" "Murong." Qi Shaofeng was surprised. Murong Qingcheng shook her head and said, "Worldly possessions are worldly possessions after all." "Brother Yi, you're right, worldly possessions are nothing compared to life." Yi Chen was shocked. Murong Qingcheng actually had a mid-rank storage ring, which was priceless. After all, a low-rank storage ring was only as big as a room, while a mid-rank storage ring was as big as a grand hall. The difference between the two was 10 times, and the value of a mid-rank storage ring was 100 times higher. Right now, he was in need of a mid-rank storage ring. Those 600 chests of gold, jewelry, and spirit stones had taken up all of his low-rank storage rings, and his mid-rank storage ring was only left with 2/3 of its space, which might not be enough in the future. Alright, deal. Yi Chen understood that this was their limit, not to mention that even if he left them behind, that terrifying creature might not let him go, and might even use the Yuan light ball in the end. Soon, the two of them gave the promised compensation to Yi Chen. The method was very simple. When the storage ring was fully activated, a light screen would appear, and the things that were thrown into the light screen would be put into the storage ring, without having to go through the ring's hand. Boom! Right at this moment, a large area of the ground behind them collapsed, and a gigantic human-shaped monster crawled out of the ground. It was over 100 meters tall, and its body was connected to numerous vines. Some were cyan red, some were dark red, and some were purple-red, which they had never seen before. The man-eating vine mother had appeared. Seeing this, the three of them gasped. They suspected that even the yuan light ball might not be able to block this attack. Swoosh! 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 Countless vines flew towards the three of them. Among them, the purple-red vines were the rarest, but they were indeed the fastest. They had already broken the speed of sound, flashed across the air, and pierced through the tornado, reaching less than 3 feet away from the three of them. Pop! The purple-red vines were blocked, and a layer of blue light screen appeared around the three of them. The light screen was a foot thick, with blue streams of air constantly rotating within it. The defense of the light screen was amazing. What was even more frightening was that the purple-red vines had penetrated 1/3 of the light screen, and were even more powerful than the wind wolf. Chapter 187. If we weren't protected by this light shield, this attack would have killed us 10 times over. Qi Xiaofeng felt lucky, and the dissatisfaction he had towards Yichen was gone. Let's not waste any more time. Let's go. Carrying the two of them, Yichen tapped the ground with his foot and darted towards the outer edge of the jungle. Pop! 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 The purple-red vines hit on the light shield from time to time, and each attack was powerful enough to break 1/3 of the light shield. Many times, the vines hit on the same spot. Fortunately, the defensive power inside the light shield wasn't static, it was constantly moving, and the damaged parts would be repaired in the next moment, keeping the entire light shield in an absolutely balanced state. Seeing that the purple-red vines couldn't break the light shield, the mother vine opened its mouth and let out a thigh-thick, dark purple vine. This vine moved as fast as lightning, and only let out a thunderous boom after it had darted miles away. It was actually a few times faster than the speed of sound. Sky Devil Great Palm. At this moment of life and death, Murong Qingqing once again launched an extremely powerful martial skill. Her slim palm struck towards the air along with an ocean-like power. Boom! In front of her palm, all the objects within hundreds of meters were lifted into the air and turned into nothingness. Although that dark purple vine wasn't damaged, it seemed to have fallen into a swamp and started slowing down. From 3 times faster than the speed of sound, it slowed down to 2 times faster than the speed of sound, and then from 2 times faster to 1 time faster than the speed of sound. With blood gushing out from the corner of her mouth, Murong Qingqing said to Yichen, "This is all I can do, the rest is up to you." "Don't worry." Yichen nodded. His soul power spread out in 2 directions, one was the entrance in front of him, and the other one was the movements of the man-eating vines behind him. After half a day of running, they were getting closer and closer to the outer entrance, and there were only 10 miles left. A dim light flashed on his storage ring, and a red light fireball appeared in his hand. This red light fireball was given to him by the demon child Leng Wuqing. There were 3 of them in total, and they were extremely powerful. They could even injure a mid-clasping Yuan realm martial artist. However, right now, mid-clasping Yuan realm martial artists were no longer a threat to Yichen, so there was no point for him to keep them. With a flick of his finger, the Scarlet Fusion Fireball drew a beautiful arc in the air and landed 3 feet away from Yichen. If one looked closely, one would notice that the Scarlet Fusion Fireball was only a hair's breadth away from the light barrier. At this time, Yichen shouted, "Explode!" Rumble! The blazing flame exploded, but the powerful force did not shatter the light shield. Instead, it caused the light shield to speed up and shoot into the distance like a meteor. Good idea. Qi Xiaofeng and Murong Qingqing's eyes brightened. Before, they thought that Yichen was just lucky, but now, they didn't think so anymore. In such a dangerous situation, he could actually stay so calm, and think of using an external force to increase his speed. Compared to him, they were much more stupid, and only knew how to solve problems with violence. Using the same method, Chen exploded the remaining 2 scarlet fusion fireballs one after another. Instantly, his speed was boosted to an unimaginable level. Wherever he passed by, the air would twist intensely, and strong gusts of wind would bring up layers of earth waves, following closely behind the light shield. Pop! The dark purple vine finally recovered from the image of the sky devil palm, and once again reached 3 times the speed of sound, chasing after them. 5 miles. 3 miles. 1 mile. Within dozens of blinks of an eye, the dark purple vine had shortened from 5 miles to 1 mile, and was once again approaching Chen, Murong Qingcheng and Murong Qingcheng. Success or failure depends on this. Chen kept moving, as if the dark purple vine was nothing to him. After a blink of an eye, the dark purple vine was less than 200 meters away from the 3 of them. Half a blink of an eye. It was less than 50 meters away. Release. Chen held the core of the light shield in his hand, and threw it backward. Shoo! The 3 of them flew out of the light shield, and continued to rush toward the entrance 1 mile away. Swoosh! The light shield, which had yet to dissipate, twisted rapidly, and was then pierced through by the dark purple vine. Its powerful defense only made the dark purple vine pause for a blink of an eye. Taking advantage of this blink of an eye, the 3 of them were less than 200 meters away from the entrance, and 300 meters away from the dark purple vine. Unfortunately, 300 meters was only 1/3 of a blink of an eye for the dark purple vine. In such a short time, Chen and the other 2 would definitely not be able to rush out 200 meters. Finally, the dark purple vine pierced through the bodies of the 3 of them. No, it was the Jin Qi afterimages that had been pierced through. It turned out that Chen had performed the shadow-separating light art at the critical moment, and had created 3 Jin Qi afterimages where he had been standing. His real body had already appeared on the right front with the other 2. The next moment, the dark purple vine once again pierced through their Jin Qi afterimages. Murong Qingcheng and Qi Xiaofeng both gasped in shock. They couldn't even imagine how Chen had managed to do that. The dark purple vine was way too fast, so fast that they couldn't even react. If it were them, they would definitely not be able to perform the Jin Qi afterimages to confuse the man-eating vine. Of course, they didn't know that Chen had a powerful soul power. Under the detection of his soul power, every single move of the dark purple vine was under his control. He knew exactly when it would arrive, and when it would be the best time to confuse it. The man-eating vine was enraged. Over and over again, Ji Hao and Ji Hao had escaped from its attacks, which made it feel depressed and confused. The sunlight shone on the 3 of them, and they finally made it out of the jungle. However, it was not the time to relax yet. Chen activated his Jin Qi to its limit, and darted towards the right front, where there was a rock mountain blocking the way. Obviously, Chen had been worrying too much. The man-eating vine couldn't appear outside the jungle, as if there was an invisible barrier blocking it. Whoosh! Letting go of the 2, Chen felt dizzy and nearly fainted. Within a short distance of tens of miles, he had been fighting against the man-eating vine, struggling on the edge of death. Although he had won in the end, only he himself knew how much energy he had consumed. To be honest, if it were any other clasping Yuan realm martial artist, he would have died dozens of times already. There was absolutely no chance for him to make it out of the jungle, not to mention carrying 2 people. Beside him, Murong Qingcheng and Qi Xiaofeng were staring at Chen as if he was a monster. What's wrong? Chen's voice was hoarse. Qi Xiaofeng gave a bitter smile and said, apart from strength, compared to you, I feel like an idiot. How did you do that? Chen gave a bitter smile and responded, if I don't want to die, this is the only way. This is the first time I admire someone, but now I have to admire you. You are not that powerful. Murong Qingcheng didn't even try to hide her admiration for Ji Hao. Let's get out of here first. Calming himself down, Chen didn't want to dwell on this issue anymore. Hearing Qi Xiaofeng and Qi Xiaofeng nodded. They didn't want to come back to this place ever again. On their way out of the 100,000 mountain range, Yi Chen ran into people from the Long Blade Martial School. However, there were only tens of them left, and all of them seemed to have lost their wits. Shaking his head, Yi Chen felt lucky for these people. If they had stayed any longer and waited for the man-eating vine to come out, the entire Long Blade Martial School would have been annihilated. There weren't any demonic beasts in this direction. Half a day later, the three of them left the 100,000 mountain range and arrived at the territory controlled by the Long Blade Martial School. After another half a day, the three of them arrived at the only city near the 100,000 mountain range, Luohui City. Inside a private room of a large restaurant. The three of them were sitting inside. "Brother Yi, it's all thanks to you that we survived this time." Qi Xiaofeng poured a glass of wine for Yi Chen and said gratefully. Yi Chen said, "Strictly speaking, it's just a business deal between us, there's no such thing as gratitude." He had already accepted 500,000 low-ranked soul stones, 6,000 mid-ranked soul stones, and a mid-ranked storage ring from the two of them. He was already satisfied, and didn't feel that the two of them owed him anything. "You can't say that. Without you, even if we had all the wealth in the world, we wouldn't be alive to enjoy it." Murong Qingcheng raised her glass and clinked it against Yi Chen's. "In that case, this meal is my way of thanking you for your kindness." Picking up his glass, Yi Chen emptied it in one gulp. The sky was getting dark. After 3 rounds of drinking, the three of them were a little tired. They said goodbye to each other and went back to their own rooms to rest. In the guest room, Yi Chen lied on the soft bed and closed his eyes. Soon, he fell into a deep sleep, and only had a slight trace of consciousness left in his mind. From yesterday to today, he was too tired. On the other side, Murong Qingcheng dragged her exhausted body out of the shower and fell into a deep sleep just like Yi Chen. The couple of days of continuous battling had taken a huge toll on her. Although she did not seem to have done much in the end, it was just that she had been startled for a while, which had drained her even more mentally. In the middle of the night, Yi Chen was the first one to wake up. "I feel much better now. This is the first time I've felt so tired." Getting up from the bed, Yi Chen stretched his body, opened the window and enjoyed the night breeze. After a long while, Yi Chen closed the window and thought, "I haven't checked the white key yet, I wonder what it can do." Taking out the arm-length white key, Yi Chen stared at it without blinking his eyes. Seeing that he couldn't see anything, Yi Chen injected his Jin Qi into the key. Buzz! A white light shone, and a line of ancient characters appeared in the air. Emperor's Tomb, Aries Constellation. Frowning, Yi Chen couldn't understand what this key had to do with the Aries constellation. Could it be the Aries constellation in the sky? But, this is not that world, this is the true spirit continent. Perhaps, it's just that the name is the same, but the content is different, and can't be compared. Excluding the Aries constellation, Yi Chen had some thoughts about the Emperor's Tomb, which was probably the tomb of some powerful warrior. And this white key was indeed the key to open the tomb. No, it should be one of the keys. The map that he had gotten was not complete, it was only a piece of it. Judging from this, only by collecting all the keys would he be able to find the tomb, and open it. After a slight disappointment, Yi Chen didn't care too much about it. The biggest gain this time should be the training method for one of the movements of the void-shattering finger art. If he could train it to the entry level, he would be able to beat all the other powerful warriors of the same generation. Once he trained it to the completion level, its power would be unimaginable. In his mind, the scene of that huge finger shattering the demon beast was still vivid. The void-shattering finger is too hard to train. I won't be able to make any progress in a short period of time. I should take a look at that high-rank Earth Realm manual first. In the second layer of the Goat Head Mountain, Yi Chen had gotten a lot of manuals, and the best one among them was a high-rank Earth Realm manual. He didn't have time to read it before, but now, he could study it. Chapter 188. A dim light flickered, and a secret manual appeared in Yi Chen's hand. Yi Chen opened it. Flow Luo 3 Mysterious Spell, High Rank Earth Realm Secret Art. Secret Art? Just by reading a few words, Yi Chen's heart started to beat faster. Normally, anything related to a secret art would be a good thing. The so-called secret art was a secret art that ordinary people would not even have the chance to see. It was more valuable than a martial art of the same rank. Calming himself down, Yi Chen continued to read. This secret art is a secret art that can increase one's movement art. It is divided into 3 realms. The first realm can increase one's movement art by 1 rank, the second realm can increase 2 ranks, and the third realm can increase 3 ranks, all the way to the top rank Earth Realm Movement Art. Closing the manual, a smile appeared on Yi Chen's face. This manual had arrived just in time. Although the separating shadows flying art was very good, as it could separate Jinqi shadows to confuse the enemies at the critical moment, but as the power increased, the weakness of the separating shadows flying art would be increased, which was its slow speed. Of course, it might not be slow among the other movement arts of the same rank, it could be counted as a top-rank Earth Realm movement art. However, all the martial geniuses he had met had trained a mid-rank Earth Realm movement art or a high-rank one. In the future, he might even meet a martial genius who had trained a top-rank Earth Realm movement art. Compared to them, the speed of the separating shadows flying art was definitely the weakness. Now, the problem was completely solved. As long as he trained the Flow Luo 3 Mysterious Spell to the first realm, the separating shadows flying art would be increased to the mid-rank Earth Realm. Once he trained it to the second realm, it would be increased to the high-rank Earth Realm. If he trained it to the third realm, it would reach the top-rank Earth Realm. This meant that the value of the Flow Luo 3 Mysterious Spell was equivalent to a top-rank Earth Realm movement art, which would allow him to be as fast as others, or even faster than others. Secret arts are usually very hard to train. This Flow Luo 3 Mysterious Spell is probably as hard as a top-rank Earth Realm martial art. It should be impossible to reach the third realm so easily. However, the first realm could increase 1 rank, which could be used for a long time. After a couple of hours, it would be dawn. Yi Chen didn't feel sleepy anymore, so he started to practice the Great Mystery Art and his Jinqi. Before cultivating, he swallowed a replenishing essence pill, a replenishing qi pill, and a replenishing spirit pill. Then, he held a piece of low-grade spirit stone in each hand and entered into a state of cultivation. When the medicinal effects started to take effect, Yi Chen was pleasantly surprised to find that his cultivation speed had increased by about 30%. In other words, cultivating for 13 days in the past was equivalent to cultivating for 10 days now. In a year, he could save more than 80 days. After reaching the clasping Yuan realm, it is getting harder and harder to increase my cultivation. With these 3 kinds of pellets, I would be able to increase my cultivation even faster. After calming himself down, Yi Chen began to cultivate. The night quickly faded. The next day. Early morning. In the lobby of the restaurant. The 3 of them sat by the window and were having breakfast. "Oh right, Brother Yi, why are you still using ordinary weapons? If you had a low-grade sword, your power would definitely improve by 10 to 20%. Qi Xiaofeng asked abruptly. Yi Chen said, "It's hard to find a suitable weapon, I would like to buy a low-grade sword at an auction." Murong Qingqing said, "Weapon auctions are usually held once a year, or even longer. Why don't you go to the martial city in the Black Dragon Empire? It's a city of martial artists. Many martial artists would find some treasures that they don't need during their travels, and trade with each other. Of course, spirit stones are the hard currency among martial artists, you can also buy them." The martial city. Yi Chen had never heard of it. Qi Xiaofeng nodded and said, "Yes, I've been to the martial city once. There are millions of martial artists gathered there, and 80% of them are above the condensing reality realm. There are also a lot of clasping Yuan realm and astral reaching realm martial artists. Sometimes, There are even Sea of Souls realm martial artists. It's very famous in the entire South Zhuo region. If you are willing to pay a high price, you can easily buy a low-grade sword. If that's the case, I do need to go there. A low-grade weapon could increase the attacking power by 10 to 20%, which was much more valuable than ordinary weapons. Yichen decided that his next stop would be the Black Dragon Empire. He had always wanted to see the Black Dragon Empire, one of the 3 largest empires in the South Zhuo region. Murong Qingqing said, "I'm going back to the Black Dragon Empire as well, you and I can go together." Hearing this, Qi Xiaofeng's expression changed, then he smiled bitterly in his mind. He had planned to spend a few more days with Murong Qingqing, but now it seemed that his plan was ruined. "Thank you." Yichen nodded. After breakfast, Yichen and Murong Qingqing started their journey. The spirit-speaking nation was not far from the Black Dragon Empire, only about 70 to 80,000 miles away. At a normal speed, it would take them a week to get there. On the way, Yichen had been practicing the Flow Rudra 3 mysterious spell every day, trying to reach the first level as soon as possible and improve the separating shadow art to the mid-rank earth realm. As for Murong Qingqing, she had been training her Jin Qi especially hard. Because she had swallowed too many pellets, her power had dropped to 60 to 70% of her peak. Although the Sky Devil Martial School had many secret Jin Qi training spells, she had only recovered 80% of her power in a couple of days. Of course, this speed had already shocked Yichen. He estimated that she would have recovered 90% of her power by the time they arrived at the Black Dragon Empire. A rank 6 martial institution is indeed a super martial institution. They are so powerful. With only this Jin Qi training spell, they can beat all the rank 7 martial institutions. In fact, Yichen had underestimated Murong Qingqing and the rank 6 martial institutions. On the 6th day, Murong Qingqing, who had finished her training, stood up and activated the Sky Devil power field with all of her power. Immediately, a small mountain nearby was crushed, as it couldn't bear the sudden explosion of the power field. "You've recovered your power." Yichen was surprised. Murong Qingqing nodded, "Actually, I didn't take too many pellets this time. 2 years ago, the Sky Devil Martial School had a war with another rank 6 martial institution. During that war, I took a whole 50 pellets in one day and killed over 20 clasping Yuan realm warriors." A war with a rank 6 martial institution. It was just a small fight. If it was a real war, I probably wouldn't be standing here anymore. Murong Qingqing looked calm. "You killed over 20 clasping Yuan realm warriors in a small fight. Clasping Yuan realm warriors from a rank 6 martial institution are so worthless." Yichen shook his head. He couldn't imagine the power of a rank 6 martial institution. After another day, the two finally arrived at the border of the Black Dragon Empire. In front of the two was a 3,000 zhang tall mountain. Except for its height, this mountain looked ordinary. However, it was emitting a terrifying aura. Yichen found that a lot of warriors who came here would choose to take a detour. Murong Qingqing introduced, according to the legend, a life and death realm warrior once died on this mountain. His blood dyed the top of the mountain red. His powerful consciousness had merged with the mountain, forming an extremely oppressive and horrifying aura. Normal warriors would often go crazy and die if they got too close. What's the name of this mountain? The Fallen Mountain. Chapter 189. The Fallen Mountain seemed to be very close, but it was actually dozens of miles away from the main road. While walking on this road, Yichen felt that horrible pressure. The negative emotions in his heart had been magnified by a couple of times without him noticing, and it even made him feel like he was hallucinating. Activating his sword intent, Yichen killed all of those negative emotions, then turned his head to look at Murong Qingqing. She seemed to have gotten used to the pressure from the Fallen Mountain, so she didn't seem to be affected at all. Vaguely, Yichen also felt that there was an even more mysterious power in her body, which was fighting against the pressure from the Fallen Mountain. Strange. Yi Chen was confused. Not long after, the two of them left the mountain of death behind, and the oppressive feeling instantly disappeared. The martial city was located in the west of the Black Dragon Empire, in the middle of the heavy mysterious mountain. Before they even got close to the heavy mysterious mountain, Yi Chen felt that the gravity had increased. This increase was very subtle, and without great perception, it would be hard to notice. At first, Yi Chen didn't pay much attention to it, but as they got closer and closer to the heavy mysterious mountain, the gravity became even heavier. Finally, he couldn't help but ask, "Is there something wrong with the gravity in the heavy mysterious mountain?" "You found it." Indeed, the gravity in the heavy mysterious mountain is much stronger than the outside world, and the closer we are to the center, the stronger the gravity is. "We haven't entered the heavy mysterious mountain yet," Murong Qingqing explained. "Really?" Murong Qingqing smiled. It was the first time she came to the heavy mysterious mountain, and she was just as shocked as Yi Chen. Later on, she didn't pay much attention to it. The true spirit continent was vast, and there were many things that couldn't be explained. For example, why did the ancient inheritance land become a world of its own, and why didn't it allow people who were over 24 years old to enter? This kind of method had already surpassed the power of life and death realm warriors. Half an hour passed. The two officially entered the outer area of the heavy mysterious mountain. Such a strong gravity, at least 3 times stronger than the outside world. Yi Chen suddenly lost control of his strength, and left a few deep footprints on the ground. On the other hand, Murong Qingqing's steps were no different from normal. Taking a deep breath, Yi Chen adjusted himself according to the gravity so that he would not leave any footprints. On the way, Yi Chen ran into quite a few groups of martial artists. Most of them were above the clasping yuan realm. Condensing reality realm martial artists were rarely seen. "Look, isn't that Murong Qingqing? Who is that brat next to him? How can he walk together with Murong Qingqing? I've never seen him before. He doesn't look like a disciple of the sky-flying demon sect. I'm so envious." Murong Qingqing is one of the 2 great beauties of the Black Dragon Empire. He would be satisfied even if he spoke a few words with her. What virtue or ability does he have to walk side by side with Murong Qingqing? This kid is dead for sure. There are hundreds and thousands of young people who are infatuated with Murong Qingqing. Any one of them could crush him to death. Hee, you're right. Let's wait for a good show. The heavy mysterious mountain was not very big. Within an hour, Yi Chen and Murong Qingqing had reached the deepest part of the mountain. The gravity here was unprecedentedly strong, almost 10 times stronger than the outside world. According to Yi Chen's estimation, flying in the sky would consume Zhen Qi dozens of times faster than the outside world. Even clasping Yuan realm martial artists would not be able to fly for long, and astral reaching realm martial artists would also be slowed down. The entrance to the martial city is at the top of the mountain, Murong Qingqing said. Yi Chen was surprised. The entrance is at the top of the mountain? We'll know when we get there. When they reached the top of the mountain, Yi Chen finally understood what Murong Qingqing meant. The martial city was actually located on a magnificent mountain. This mountain seemed to have its top cut off by a sword, leaving only a flat cross-section. The cross-section had a diameter of over 100 miles. Around the cross-section was a bottomless abyss, completely isolated from the outside world. There were only 2 ways to enter the martial city. One was to fly with one's cultivation. However, the gravity above the abyss was way too strong. Yi Chen had just seen a rank 4 flying demonic beast being dragged into the abyss by the sudden increase of gravity when it was gliding in the sky, leaving nothing behind. The second way was to use the chains in front of them. There were thousands of chains floating above the abyss. These chains were as thick as a person's thigh, connecting the 2 places. Let's go. Murong Qingqing's body flashed and landed on the chain. Immediately, Zhen Qi spurted out from her heels, pushing her to the other end of the chain at an extremely fast speed. Following her example, Yichen followed closely behind Murong Qingcheng. When they reached the center of the abyss, Yichen felt the sudden increase of gravity. It was at least 30 times, no, 50 times, a whole 50 times. No wonder even rank 4 flying demonic beasts couldn't fly over here. If a normal clasping Yuan realm martial artist tried to fly over here, he would probably end up the same as a rank 4 flying demonic beast. Swoosh! Swoosh! The two landed on the cross-section of the mountain outside the martial city. The martial city was bigger than the Wild Wind City and the Forgotten City in the Windy Nation. It was over 70 miles in both width and length, and the city wall was over 300 meters tall. This height was not built randomly, because according to the gravity here, no martial artist below the late clasping Yuan realm could fly over 300 meters. Outside the wide city gate, there were 2 rows of guarding martial artists. Murong Qingcheng reminded them, the entrance fee is 1 low-rank soul stone, and the exit fee is also 1 low-rank soul stone. Even leaving the city requires a soul stone. The entrance fee of 1 low-rank soul stone was indeed very high, but Yichen had already gotten used to it. After all the people in the martial city were martial artists. Once you entered the city, you would be able to buy a lot of things that you couldn't normally see, which was very attractive to martial artists. It was understandable that the entrance fee was very high, but leaving the city also required a fee, which confused him. Murong Qingcheng said, there are a lot of rules in the martial city, this is just one of them. After paying the 2 low-rank soul stones, the two entered the martial city. The first impression that Yichen got from the buildings inside the martial city was that it was huge and magnificent. Any ordinary building was at least 10 meters tall, and those restaurants were like tall towers, standing in every corner of the city. They were extremely eye-catching, and the streets were even wider, almost able to accommodate hundreds of people walking side by side. At this moment, Yichen felt like he had arrived at the capital of the giants. The second rule of the martial city is that fighting is strictly prohibited. Anyone who violates this rule will be thrown into jail depending on the severity of the offense. Those who violate this rule will be killed on the spot. Until now, there has never been an exception. Hearing this, Yichen said, the martial city is a city of martial artists, so there should be a powerful person guarding it, right? Murong Qingcheng nodded, the mayor of the martial city is a Sea of Souls realm martial artist. A Sea of Souls realm martial artist, no wonder. If astral reaching realm martial artists were powerful martial artists, then Sea of Souls realm martial artists were powerful martial artists. Every single move of theirs had the power to change the terrain. With a powerful Sea of Souls realm martial artist as the mayor, anyone who dared to mess around would be looking for death. There was a reason why the street was so wide. Once he entered the city, Yichen saw a lot of martial artists setting up stalls on both sides of the street. There were all kinds of stalls, there were bookshelves, animal skins, tables, and even huge rocks shaped like counters. It was a dazzling sight. Murong Qingcheng said, if you want to set up a stall, you need to spend 100 low-rank soul stones to get a stall license. Otherwise, it would be against the rules, and the punishment would be very heavy. Normally, when there are not too many things to sell, no one would set up a stall. Most people would choose to trade privately. Are there no shops in the martial city? Yichen asked. There are, but the shops rarely sell treasures. Most of them are pellet shops and normal weapon shops, and then there are restaurants and tea houses. Of course, if you have thousands of treasures, you can rent or buy a shop. Unfortunately, the treasures that an individual has are limited. It would be more worthwhile to set up a stall at midnight. After all, the stall license only costs 100 low-rank soul stones. In the city, there were a lot of patrolling martial artists going back and forth to check if anyone was violating the rules. Those martial artists who were more powerful than them did not dare to talk back to them. They were afraid that if they offended the patrolling martial artists, it would be a huge loss for them. When passing by some stalls, Yichen found that not everyone wanted to trade with soul stones. Some of the martial artists had two prices, one was the price of soul stones, and the other was the price of gold. However, the price of gold was obviously on the higher side. For example, a spirit plant would cost 10 low-rank soul stones, which was equivalent to 4,000 gold. However, the price of gold was more than 4,000 gold, reaching 6,000 gold. Regarding this, Yi Qin had his own opinion. In the martial city, gold should not be valued too much. Soul stones were what everyone needed. Therefore, if you wanted to buy something with gold, you should not care about it. No one would force you to buy it anyway. Coming to a bookshelf stall, Yi Qin took a look. All of them were secret manuals. The top 2 layers were for top-rank Mortal Realm secret manuals, and the bottom 2 were for low-rank Earth Realm secret manuals. Yi Qin asked, "How much are these secret manuals?" The owner of the stall was a mid-clasping Yuan Realm martial artist. He glanced at Yi Qin and said in a neutral tone, "Top-rank Mortal Realm secret manuals are all 80 low-rank soul stones. Low-rank Earth Realm secret manuals have their own prices." Hearing this, Yi Qin looked down. The cheapest low-rank Earth Realm secret manual was worth 6,000 low-rank soul stones, and the most expensive one was 13,000 low-rank soul stones. There were 5 secret manuals here, and the total value was more than 40,000 low-rank soul stones. It was not a small fortune. Yi Qin was speechless. The martial city was indeed the martial city. Even a small stall had a huge transaction volume. Yi Qin had no idea where the owner got so many secret manuals. Thinking that he still had dozens of secret manuals with him, Yi Qin thought to himself, "If I lack soul stones in the future, I can set up a stall in the martial city to sell them. Are you buying or not? If not, don't block the stall." The owner's face darkened. "I'm just taking a look." Yi Qin and Murong Qingqing walked away. They didn't care about the owner's attitude. All the martial artists who set up stalls in the martial city were not ordinary people. There were good and bad personalities, and there were all kinds of people. You couldn't expect every powerful martial artist to be nice to you. After walking a few streets, Yi Qin still hadn't found a stall that sold great weapons. Most of the stalls were selling spirit herbs, strange metals, beast pellets, and secret manuals. Murong Qingqing said, "There aren't many treasures in the outer city. Let's go to the trading palace in the inner city." Trading palace? The trading palace is the place with the most treasures in the martial city. Sometimes, astral reaching realm martial artists would also choose to sell or buy treasures there. However, you have to be qualified to go in. You have to be at least a late-clasping Yuan realm martial artist, or a very wealthy person with more than 200,000 low-rank soul stones. You have more than 500,000 low-rank soul stones, so you are qualified. Chapter 190. Hearing Murong Qingqing's words, Yi Qin naturally planned to go to the trading palace in the inner city to have a look. To enter the outer city, one would have to pay a low-rank soul stone, and to enter the inner city, it would be 100 times more, 100 low-rank soul stones. Just this entrance fee alone was enough to keep most of the condensing reality realm warriors out. They were not that extravagant, throwing out 100 low-rank soul stones so casually. Most of them only had hundreds or thousands of low-rank soul stones in their pockets. After paying 200 low-rank soul stones, Yi Qin and Murong Qingqing entered the inner city. 4 astral reaching realm warriors drinking tea, and 2 astral reaching realm warriors taking a walk. I saw 6 of them at once, it's unbelievable. Astral reaching realm warriors were rarely seen in the outside world, but there were already 6 of them on one street in the inner city of the martial city. One of them had a cultivation that was even more horrifying than the Black Crow Man, which meant that he was most likely a mid-astral reaching realm warrior. Isn't this Miss Murong? Among the 2 astral reaching realm warriors taking a walk, the silver-haired elder looked over with a smile on his face. Murong Qingqing said politely, "Greetings, Senior Diao." The silver-haired elder nodded and said, "Please send my regards to your sky-flying devil martial school's elderly. Tell him that I will play chess with him when I have time. But you have to tell him that he is not allowed to think for a long time before making a move. If I did not win the last game so quickly, I don't know how many days it would have taken." "Hee, I will tell elderly. But, Senior Diao, you have to be careful this time. Elderly has developed a special move that is specially used to deal with you." Murong Qingqing smiled lightly. "Alright, let him come. My cultivation is one level lower than his, but my chess skills are much better than his." The silver-haired elder laughed, then glanced at Yi Chen and teased, "Miss Murong, who is this? Don't tell me he is your sweetheart." Murong Qingqing said, "He is my friend, his name is Yi Chen." "So it is a friend. Work hard." The silver-haired elder looked very kind, without the slightest bit of arrogance of an astral-reaching realm warrior. Instead, he was teasing Yi Chen. Seeing that he couldn't stay out of this, Yi Chen cupped his fists and said, "Greetings, seniors." The old man at the side nodded slightly and didn't say anything. The silver-haired old man waved his hand and said, "Go on with your business. We still have things to do. Take care, Senior Diao." Murong Qingqing watched him leave. Yi Chen couldn't help but ask, "Who is this Senior Diao? His cultivation is very terrifying." Senior Diao doesn't belong to any sect, but he is very famous in the Black Dragon Empire. Among the martial artists of the same level, there are only a few who can beat him. His self-created mountain-shaking fist can shake a mountain into powder, so the martial artists of Jianghu call him Mountain-Shaking Elder, Murong Qingqing said. To be able to turn a huge mountain into dust, it is indeed terrifying. There was a huge difference between smashing a mountain and shaking a mountain into powder. In the former, even 10 people would not be a match for Elder Jinshan. The trading hall was more than 5 miles in length and width. There were 4 entrances to the hall, and there were martial artists inspecting at each entrance. "You too, please show your spirit stones. Only those with more than 200,000 low-rank spirit stones are qualified to enter." The leading martial artist could see that the two of them didn't have the cultivation of late clasping Yuan realm, so he said in a neither servile nor overbearing manner. Yi Chen nodded. A dim light flashed on his storage ring, and a total of 20 big boxes landed on the ground. Each box contained 10,000 low-rank spirit stones. Indeed, there are 200,000 low-rank spirit stones. "You can enter now." Hearing this, Yi Chen put away the 20 big boxes, and suddenly thought that Murong Qingqing might not have 200,000 low-rank spirit stones. However, to his surprise, Murong Qingqing didn't need to show her spirit stones at all. She took out a black jade tag from her storage ring, and the guard saw the jade tag and directly let her in. "Our Sky-Flying Devil Martial School is a rank 6 martial institution. As long as you show your core disciple tag, you will be able to enter the trading hall," Murong Qingqing said. Yi Chen sighed. Super martial institutions indeed had a lot of face. Their core disciples could directly enter the trading hall, and their status was equivalent to that of late clasping Yuan realm martial artists. The inside of the hall was very spacious, and there were countless pillars made of jade. These pillars were hundreds of meters tall, and 5 meters thick. Flowers, birds, insects, and fishes were carved on the surface. The floor of the hall was paved with very expensive green jade, which looked crystal clear and smooth. Walking on it would feel like walking on a calm ocean, and it would make one feel much more relaxed. As far as the eye could see, there was a crystal counter every 20 steps. The things inside the counters were all different. There were shining great weapons, demonic beast pellets that were releasing Yuan Qi, rare spirit herbs that emitted a strong spirit Qi, and even manuals. Right now, almost every crystal counter was surrounded by a group of martial artists. 80% of them were late clasping Yuan realm martial artists, and the rest were mostly early clasping Yuan realm or mid clasping Yuan realm martial artists. Occasionally, some astral reaching realm martial artists could be seen. Chen roughly estimated that there were more than 50,000 clasping Yuan realm martial artists in the hall, which was an amazing number. Following the order of the crystal counters, the two walked and observed. Stopping in front of a crystal counter, Chen saw the words written on it: Rank 6 Demonic Beast, 3-headed snake pellet, worth 50,000 low-ranked spirit stones. The 3-headed snake is only slightly weaker than the wind wolf. Normal peak-level late clasping Yuan realm martial artists are no match for it. I can't believe there is a 3-headed snake pellet for sale here. Chen was very clear that the one who killed the 3-headed snake was most likely a late clasping Yuan realm martial artist. Astral reaching realm martial artists were not that bored. After all, 50,000 low-ranked spirit stones were not that much for them. Furthermore, once they reached the astral reaching realm, low-ranked spirit stones would no longer be enough for their normal training. Only mid-ranked spirit stones could help them refine the Yuan Qi from the spirit stones faster. Murong Qingqing said, "Don't underestimate all the martial artists in the world. Some of the less famous late clasping Yuan realm martial artists are even more powerful than the top 10 young martial artists in the hidden dragon rank. The wind wolf and the 3-headed snake are invincible existences for us, but for them, they might only need one attack to kill them. Killing the wind wolf with one attack, is there anyone below the astral reaching realm who could do that?" As far as Chen knew, the wind wolf was way more powerful than the leader of the Sky Cloud Martial School, Luo Xinglie. Luo Xinglie used to be an amazing martial genius, and now he was a peak-level late clasping Yuan realm martial artist. Stepping into the astral reaching realm is way too difficult. Although some people are already peak-level late clasping Yuan realm martial artists, they might be stuck at this level for the rest of their lives. Therefore, these people would spend a lot of time and effort to study the most powerful martial arts, pushing their own power to the limit. The power they could unleash would be extremely horrifying. You can't underestimate them just because they are not talented enough. Otherwise, you will be in big trouble. Chen nodded. No matter what, to be able to kill a peak-level 6 demonic beast, the 3-headed snake, this person is indeed very powerful. I am far from being able to compete with him. Right now, Chen's power could only compete with normal late clasping Yuan realm martial artists at most. If he ran into a slightly more powerful late clasping Yuan realm martial artist, he would have to run away. If he ran into a peak-level late clasping Yuan realm martial artist, he probably wouldn't even be able to run away. Walking another few hundred meters, Chen suddenly saw a bright red light in front of him. The dazzling red light was emitted from the third crystal counter on the left. At the same time, a sharp and vigorous aura blew over, pressing down on his mind. The two of them looked over. Mid-rank artifact, Blood Sun Axe, worth 38,000 mid-rank spirit stones. Murong Qingqing said in surprise, "Someone is selling a mid-rank artifact, but the price is too high. Not many people below the astral reaching realm can afford it. What's the usual price of a mid-rank artifact?" Chen could feel the power of this Blood Sun Axe. Once his soul power got close to it, it felt like it was going to be crushed. He hurriedly asked. A normal mid-rank artifact is worth no less than 30,000 mid-rank spirit stones. This Blood Sun Axe should be a slightly better mid-rank artifact. A normal mid-rank artifact costs 30,000 mid-rank spirit stones. I remember that a mid-rank artifact can only increase one's attack power by 30 to 40%, while a low-rank artifact can also increase one's attack power by 10 to 20%. Why is the price difference more than 100 times? Murong Qingqing shook her head. "You have misunderstood. A low-rank artifact can increase a clasping Yuan realm martial artist's attack power by 10 to 20%. In the hands of an astral reaching realm martial artist, it would already be very difficult to increase it by 5%. However, a mid-rank artifact can increase an astral reaching realm martial artist's attack power by 30 to 40%. The two cannot be compared. Unfortunately, mid-rank artifacts are very rare. Even the inner elders of my Sky Flying Devil sect rarely have one." "I see." Then what if a mid-rank artifact falls into the hands of a clasping Yuan realm martial artist? Yi Chen was very clear about normal items, but he only had a smattering of knowledge about these rare treasures. No one had ever told him about them, and they could not be found in any books. As for astral reaching realm martial artists, although they knew about them, you could not expect them to chat with you and tell you about some of the more advanced items. Moreover, Yi Chen was only familiar with Thunder Freer, and judging from his appearance, he did not have a mid-rank artifact either. It is very difficult for a clasping Yuan realm martial artist to bring out the full power of a mid-rank artifact. At most, their attack power can increase by 30 to 40%, which is the same as an astral reaching realm martial artist. However, you have to be careful. Even if you have a mid-rank artifact, do not take it out. Some astral reaching realm martial artists might even kill you and steal it. Thank you for the reminder. Yi Chen nodded. She was indeed a core disciple of a super martial institution. She knew a lot. Compared to her, Yi Chen's knowledge was very limited. Blood Sun Axe, my luck is not bad. A sturdy middle-aged man who looked to be in his 50s walked over, his eyes landing on the Blood Sun Axe. Yi Chen's pupils shrank. This person was an astral reaching realm martial artist. Ding ling ling. The sturdy middle-aged man pulled the string on the crystal counter, and a crisp bell sound rang out from the wall behind the crystal counter. Soon, a door opened in the wall, and an old man with an aura as deep as the sea walked out. His Zhen Yuan ripples seemed to be even more powerful than the sturdy middle-aged man's. You want to buy the Blood Sun Axe? Indeed. Seeing the two trading, Yi Chen shook his head. In the past, astral reaching realm martial artists were rarely seen, but now, they were everywhere in the martial city. He was already numb to it. The interior of the trading palace was very spacious. It was more than 5 miles in length and width, which was much bigger than some of the small towns in the outside world. The two were not in a hurry as they walked along the rows of crystal counters. Yeah. It's a low-rank sword. I've finally found it. Yi Chen's soul power sensed a sharp sword aura. It was coming from 100 meters in front of him, and it was very clear. Let's go take a look. As he spoke, Yi Chen had already walked over, with Murong Qingqing following beside him. Chapter 191. There were 7 to 8 late clasping Yuan realm warriors standing in front of the crystal counter. Most of them were just there to watch, while the rest were bargaining with the owner. This sword is too expensive. Can you make it cheaper? 20,000 low-rank soul stones, I will buy it. The owner was a middle-aged man in his 40s with a beard. He shook his head, 30,000 low-rank soul stones, no more, no less. How about 24,000 low-rank soul stones? This is all I have. The middle-aged man still shook his head. Seeing this, the few people who wanted to buy the sword felt helpless. Although they were late clasping Yuan realm warriors, they only had 20 to 30,000 low-rank soul stones at most, which was already very rich. Outside of the martial city, most of the late clasping Yuan realm warriors might not even have 10,000 low-rank soul stones. Plus, they needed a lot of low-rank soul stones for their own training, so they obviously could not spend all of them. 30,000 low-rank soul stones, I will take it. Yi Chen and Murong Qingqing walked over side by side. The middle-aged man glanced at Yi Chen and asked suspiciously, you want to buy it? He had been in the martial city for many years, so he knew clearly that only some of the older late clasping Yuan realm warriors could afford 30,000 low-rank soul stones. Yi Chen was so young, even if he came from a big martial institution, he would not have that many low-rank soul stones, unless he was the top martial genius of the martial institution, who was qualified to go to the ancient inheritance place and exchange with the martial institution. Without saying anything, Yi Chen took out 3 boxes of soul stones from his storage ring. Alright, the Star Scar sword is yours. The middle-aged man looked very happy. He had recently been interested in a low-rank Earth realm martial art, which included a flying art, palm art, and a martial art. If he sold it individually, it would only be around 10,000 low-rank soul stones, but if he sold it all together, it would be worth 70,000 low-rank soul stones. Right now, he still needed 20,000 low-rank soul stones. As for the extra 10,000 low-rank soul stones from selling the Star Scar sword, it was for his own training. Wow, this brat is way too rich. 30,000 low-rank soul stones just like that. I'm sure that he's a genius disciple of a large sect and has entered the ancient land of inheritance. Otherwise, with his age, he wouldn't be able to accumulate so many spirit stones even after 4 or 5 years. Look at that masked girl next to him, she seems to be at the peak level of the mid-clasping Yuan realm, but the Zhenqi vibration released from her body seems to be even more powerful than us. She must have trained some kind of powerful martial art, the quality and quantity of her Zhenqi is terrifyingly high. That brat walking together with her, he must not be simple. All of the late clasping Yuan realm martial artists nearby started to discuss among themselves. Some of them looked surprised, some looked greedy, and some looked envious. Murong Qingcheng said in a low voice, "It's too expensive. The best low-grade artifact is only worth 20,000. It definitely won't exceed 25,000. Yichen said carelessly, "I don't need soul stones right now. What I need is a great sword." It doesn't matter. The Star Scar sword on the crystal counter was around 4 feet long. The body of the sword was not in the scabbard, and its whole body was shining with a misty sword light. It looked like the stars in the sky, shining brightly. Yichen could tell that the Star Scar sword was one of the top low-rank great swords. It was even better than the air-shattering blade that Lynch had bought. If he did not buy it now, he would regret it if someone else bought it. Wait, I want this Star Scar sword. The middle-aged man was about to hand over the Star Scar sword to Yichen, but a hand stopped him and said with a cold voice. Everyone looked over and saw that it was a middle-aged man with a gloomy face. He had a sharp nose, triangular eyes, and a skinny face. His body was so skinny that it looked like he could be blown away by a gust of wind. However, sensing the extremely cold qi coming from him, no one dared to underestimate him. This is the inner master of the Sky Eagle Castle Martial School, the Blood Eagle Sword Yuan Zongbua. Someone recognized the middle-aged man and said with a low voice. It's him. This is going to be a good show. Yuan Zongbua is an experienced late-clasping Yuan realm warrior. Normal late-clasping Yuan realm warriors would not be able to take even one sword attack from him. Even if I can't get the Star Scar sword, I will just watch the show. Hee hee. The crowd spread out a little bit, standing not far away to watch the situation. Yichen's face darkened as he looked at the middle-aged man. Right now, it was all up to him. If he insisted on selling the Star Scar sword to him, then everything would be fine. The middle-aged man pushed away Yuan Zongbua's palm and said to Yichen, "Young man, the Star Scar sword is yours now. As for how you deal with it, it has nothing to do with me." Letting out a breath, Yichen took over the Star Scar sword. Ha! Yuan Zongbua looked at the middle-aged man with a cold look, "Very good. You did not even give me, Yuan Zongbua, any face. It seems like you are very confident. I, Fang Zongbua, have always been upright. Of course, I am confident. This Star Scar sword has already been paid by him, so it belongs to him now." The middle-aged man did not look scared at all. His eyes were full of killing intent. If it were not for the fact that this was the martial city, where fighting was forbidden, Yuan Zongbua would have already killed the middle-aged man with one sword attack. He would not even bother to talk to him. Plus, the Star Scar sword was in Yichen's hand now, so it would be pointless for him to keep threatening the middle-aged man. Turning his head to look at Yichen, Yuan Zongbua said, "Young man, name a price. Sell this Star Scar sword to me, and we can talk about it later." Putting away the Star Scar sword, Yichen said, "Sorry, not for sale. You better think it through. Yuan Zongbua squeezed his eyes. This is the result of thinking it through. Right now, we still have something to do. Bye. Yi Qin did not want to waste any more time with Yuan Zongbua. This kind of person would not change his mind with just a few words. So, it would be a waste of time. Brat, you are looking for death. Don't think that the martial city can protect you forever. Once we get out of the martial city, I, Yuan Zongbua, will have my ways to make you hand over the Star Scar sword. Of course, by then, it will not be just one Star Scar sword, so I will have to collect some interest. Yuan Zongbua was so mad that he almost puked out blood. After being humiliated for so many times, his face had turned slightly red. He then clenched his fists, his veins bulging. As for Yuan Zongbua's harsh words, Yi Qin pretended that he did not hear them. Once they got out of the martial city, they would fight with their own power. If one or two words could scare him, then what was the point of him coming out to train? Wouldn't it be better to stay in the Sky Cloud Martial School? At least the Sky Cloud Martial School had the protection of the astral reaching realm warriors. Looking at Yi Chen's back, everyone was shocked. This brat is so straightforward. He did not even talk to Yuan Zongbua. But it would be hard for Yuan Zongbua to kill him. The masked lady next to him is very powerful. If the two of them join hands, they might be able to hurt Yuan Zongbua. Relying on women is nothing. Hearing everyone's words, Yuan Zongbua sneered. Of course, he could tell how powerful Murong Qingqing was. But he was confident that he could kill Yi Chen and leave easily. Plus, with his experience, he could tell that Murong Qingqing and Yi Chen were just normal friends. They would separate eventually, and by then, he would make sure that Yi Chen would die a horrible death. That would be the price for messing with Yuan Zongbua. Waving his sleeves, Yuan Zongbua turned to leave. He needed to find some people to keep an eye on Yi Chen, just in case he would be able to sneak away without anyone noticing. On the other side of the palace, Murong Qingqing said that Yuan Zongbua is not easy to deal with. With your power, I think it might be a bit of a stretch. She did not want to hurt Yi Chen, so she used the word stretch. Seriously, if Yi Chen ran into Yuan Zongbua, the only thing he could do was to run for his life. As for whether or not he could make it out alive, it was still unknown. It would be boring if the training was not dangerous. It would be nice to have some side dishes. Yi Chen was not worried at all. He now had the training method for the third movement of the void-shattering finger art, and he also had the Flow Rudra 3 mysterious spell. With 1 month, his power would definitely reach the next level. By then, even if he could not beat Yuan Zongbua, he would still be able to scare him. Of course, if he could reach the peak level of early clasping Yuan realm, then he would be even more confident. You're right. Murong Qingqing nodded. After buying the Star Scar sword, the two did not leave right away. There were way too many treasures in the trading palace, and there might be something they needed. As they were walking, Murong Qingqing suddenly stopped in front of a crystal counter. Inside the crystal counter, a pair of gloves with golden threads was sitting there quietly. They looked very thin, but a shocking spirit power vibration was coming out of them. Seeing the price of the gloves, Murong Qingqing shook her head. She did not plan to buy it. Yi Chen said, "This pair of low-rank gloves is not bad. Why don't you buy it? I do not have that many low-rank soul stones right now. We will talk about it later. Plus, I already have a pair of gloves." As the second disciple of the Sky Flying Devil Martial School, Murong Qingqing already had low-rank gloves. However, compared to this pair of gloves, they were obviously not as good. 23,000 low-rank soul stones. I will pay for you. Consider it as a thank you for bringing me to the martial city. Yi Chen took out 2 big boxes and 3 small boxes without hesitation. They were all filled with low-rank soul stones. For him, 23,000 low-rank soul stones were just a small amount. He had more than 2 million low-rank soul stones now, and 60,000 mid-rank soul stones. He was even richer than a normal rank 9 martial institution. Thank you. Murong Qingcheng had trained a demon martial art, so she was not shy at all. Qingcheng, you don't need him to pay for you. I will give you this pair of gloves. Right then, a young man in luxurious clothes took out a low-rank soul stone and handed it to the owner of the gloves before Yichen could. Seeing this person, Murong Qingcheng was expressionless. Second prince, what a coincidence. Yeah. It is indeed a coincidence. The young man was not very handsome, but he had the aura of a king. Behind him were 4 elderly men in black, all of whom were at least as powerful as Yuan Zongbua. The leader was obviously a peak-level late-clasping Yuan realm warrior. I think I should just forget about it. I don't like this pair of gloves. Murong Qingcheng did not plan to accept his gift. The young man turned around. What? Didn't you want to buy it just now? Just now was just now. I don't like it now. Yichen, let's go. Murong Qingcheng turned around and left. Yichen followed behind her helplessly. The smile on the young man's face froze. Yichen was willing to pay for her, but she did not buy it when he gave it to her. How ridiculous. Master Lu, send a couple of people to watch them. See what kind of relationship that brat has with her. Yes, Your Royal Highness, the old man in the lead said respectfully. Better not. Otherwise, don't blame me. Glancing at Yichen with a creepy look, the young man dropped the gloves and walked away. Chapter 192. In front of an ancient-looking building. People were coming and going. The warriors who went in had a serious look on their faces, and the ones who came out were either overjoyed or upset. The atmosphere was quite weird. Yichen paused, turned his head and said, "The second prince you are talking about should be the second prince of the Black Dragon Empire, right?" Yeah, he is also ranked 34th in the last hidden dragon rank. He is slightly more powerful than Qi Shaofeng. Murong Qingcheng was playing with the golden silk gloves in her hand. Just now, under Yichen's suggestion, they had gone back to the crystal counter and bought the gloves. You seem to be very scared of him. I am not scared of him, I am scared of the royal family of the Black Dragon Empire behind him. In the South Rudra region, rank 6 institutions are not the most powerful ones. The royal families of the 3 big empires are the real rulers. According to the ranking, the 3 big empires are equivalent to the top rank 6 institutions. They have tens of thousands of years of history. Even the powerful 9 ghost cult could not destroy the 3 big empires at once. Speaking of the 9 ghost cult, Yichen could not help but ask, what is the rank of the 9 ghost cult? Even if all of the forces in the South Rudra region combined, they would not be able to compete with it. It is a rank 5 institution, and it is a top rank 5 institution. There are thousands of astral-reaching realm warriors in the martial institution, and dozens of Sea of Souls realm warriors. And the leader of the 9 ghost cult is a life and death realm warrior. If it were not for the Dragon King and Xianhou working together to hunt him down, the 9 ghost cult would have already conquered the whole South Rudra region. The Dragon King and Xianhou working together to hunt down the leader of the 9 ghost cult. Yichen gasped. In this true spirit continent, life and death realm warriors were definitely a legend. A lot of people might not even get to see one in their entire lives. Murong Qingcheng had a longing look on her face as she explained, the battle between life and death realm warriors is not a normal battle. Even if you are 30% more powerful, you will only be able to beat your opponent back. You will not even be able to hurt your opponent. Although the Dragon King is an experienced life and death realm warrior, and Xianhou is even more powerful, the leader of the Su King is not a normal life and death realm warrior either. In a one-on-one battle, you will not be able to do anything to him. In the whole world, perhaps only that supreme warrior, Su King, could wound the leader of the 9 ghost cult badly by himself. But to kill him completely would be very, very hard, unless the power gap between the two was a few times higher. You're saying that the leader of the 9 ghost cult might still be alive? You don't know. Murong Qingqing shook his head. Yichen forced a smile. With his cultivation, he would not be able to understand the power of life and death realm warriors at all. Making wild guesses would only bring trouble to himself. Alright, let's go in. Yichen did not say anything else as he walked towards the ancient-looking building. Welcome. You two are here to use the training room, right? In the lobby, there was a beautiful lady sitting there. Seeing the two walk in, a formal smile appeared on her face. Yichen nodded, that's right. The martial city was different from other places. It could be said that it was blessed by the heavens. Under the martial city, there was the earth Shajin fire, which was extremely hot. Once an astral-reaching realm warrior touched it, he or she would be burned into ashes in an instant. However, what was amazing was that if a warrior trained near the earth Shajin fire, he or she would be able to train his or her Jin Qi much faster, and it would be easier for him or her to make a breakthrough. Later on, dozens of Sea of Souls realm warriors performed an amazing trick and gathered the fire qi that came from the earth Shajin fire in one place, and built the unique training room of the martial city. Training in the training room was much better than before. Most of the warriors who came to the martial city because of the fame of the earth Shajin fire were here to train in the training room, hoping to reach a higher level as soon as possible. Of course, training in the training room required soul stones. There was no such thing as a free lunch in the world. The training rooms in our martial city are divided into 4 ranks, the low-rank training room, the mid-rank training room, the high-rank training room, and the top-rank training room. However, only astral-reaching realm warriors can use the high-rank training room and above. Would you like a low-rank training room or a mid-rank training room? Yichen said, give us 2 mid-rank training rooms. The fire qi in the high-rank training room was way too intense. Warriors below the astral-reaching realm would not be able to handle it. Otherwise, there would be no need for the martial city to restrict the warriors' cultivation, since everyone's soul stones were soul stones anyway. The mid-rank training room costs 1,000 low-rank soul stones per day. There is a mid-rank training field outside. Please pay for 3 days' worth of soul stones in advance. Yichen had already heard the price of the training room from Murong Qingqing, so he was not too surprised. He took out 6,000 low-rank soul stones and put them on the counter, then took 2 jade tags from the waiter's hand. The ancient characters 64 and 65 were written on the jade tags. Please follow me, a waiter said as he led the way. Yichen and Murong Qingqing followed. Not long after, the two followed the waiter to 2 adjacent yards. On the contrary, his body felt warm, and the Jin Qi that was flowing slowly suddenly became active, like a surging river. Releasing his soul power, Yichen wanted to see what was so special about the training room. Soon, he found that there was a light red gas rising up from the ground, gathering in the training room. Because of the special material, the walls and the ceiling had the effect of blocking the red gas, preventing it from spreading out. This should be the fire qi of the earth Jin Qi. I wonder what the real earth Jin Qi looks like. Mumbling to himself, Yichen walked to the cushion in the middle of the training room and sat down with his legs crossed. He took out a qi replenishing pellet, a spirit replenishing pellet, and a soul replenishing pellet and put them into his mouth. He then took out 2 low-rank soul stones and held them in his hands. This time, he wanted to reach the peak of early clasping Yuan realm. Only with his cultivation could his overall power increase rapidly. Closing his eyes, Yichen slowly entered the training state. You mean, that brat is training in the training room? In the private room of the restaurant, Yuan Zongbua said to the condensing reality realm warrior who was standing in front of him. The warrior nodded, yes. Keep watching him. Once he comes out, send someone to inform me immediately. You will get the soul stones. Yuan Zongbua said with a cold expression. Yes. The warrior looked very happy. In the martial city, condensing reality realm warriors did not have much status. It was very hard to earn soul stones through normal channels. The good thing was that all the warriors who entered the martial city had some conflicts with each other. Normally, the warriors who had conflicts would find a few condensing reality realm warriors to keep an eye on each other. Of course, there was a price to pay, which was soul stones. You can leave for now. Yuan Zongbua waved his hand. Waiting until the warrior left, Yuan Zongbua's face turned evil. Brat, the training room is not omnipotent. You are only an early class Bing Yuan realm warrior, and you can only reach the peak of early class Bing Yuan realm in a short period of time. You will not be able to compete with me. Once you leave the martial city, it will be your death. As for that star scar sword, it will be mine. Inside another luxurious yard. Second Prince, our people have been watching along the way. They found that this guy is not that close to Miss Murong. They should be normal friends. The elder in black said with respect. Hearing him, the second prince laughed. Normal friends. That's what I said. Qing Cheng is a proud woman. How could she have a relationship with someone else? Plus, that brat is only an early class Bing Yuan realm warrior. The elder in black rolled his eyes, and thought to himself, no one said that he has a relationship with Murong Qingcheng. You are the one who thinks so. If that is the case, then let's stop watching. Murong Qingcheng has a lot of normal friends. There is no need to watch every single one of them. Knowing that Yi Chen and Murong Qingcheng were normal friends, the second prince felt a lot better. He did not plan to cause any trouble for Yi Chen. After all, martial geniuses had too many normal friends. It would be weird if they did not have any. Yes. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.